5, 4, 3, 1.
Welcome back to the WesLife Webcast. We are joined right now by Bill Foster, who's a former missionary to Australia with his wife, Daphne. But now, Bill, you're the executive director for Habitat for Missions. Talk a little bit about the concept of what Habitat for Missions is.
All right, I'll give you my elevator speech. Habitat for Missions partners with local congregations as a way of generating extra money for missions. And the operative word there is extra. We don't want them to back off of their faith promises or their mission convention fundraising, but if they want to do more for missions, we want to help them. And we do this by offering to raise the investment capital needed to buy a local investment property and pay for the building materials for its renovation.
Right.
If the local church will provide the labor force to flip the house, to get it prepared for sale. Once the house is sold, then we donate 90% of the profit to the missionary of their choosing.
Wow.
Yeah, that's nice. So how many active projects do you keep up with that? Or
We've done 38 so far.
Okay.
We've got 5 that are going right now. And our goal is to do at least 6 a year for the next 3 years, specifically for Global Partner Missionaries.
Can you give us a sense of how some of these properties have done? Like maybe give us a max on,
Sure. Sold a property. The last property was sold was mid-April in Hudsonville, Michigan. It was developed by the team from Daybreak Church.
Okay.
And for the first time, we cracked the $50,000 mark in profit.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, all told, you've raised over $500,000.
Yeah, that's correct.
That goes straight to missionaries. Now, recently, you guys did a project in central South Carolina near where we're at. So can you tell us just a little bit about the nuts and bolts, if somebody's watching this, how they could get the ball rolling to be involved in one of your projects?
If I look at the camera, will they get the ball rolling?
Look at that,
That one over here?
camera right there. Talk to them.
No, it usually begins with a missionary that needs support. In this particular case, Ben and Heather McEwen
Right.
Yeah.
were starting the process of their team building. And they had a friend, Ben had grown up with a friend that we had generated about $40,000 for.
Wow.
And the friend had gotten a hold of Ben and said, listen, you ought to get a hold of Habitat for Missions if you need some help. And so Ben got a hold of me. It turns out that I had actually taught Ben and Heather at IWU when I was the missionary in residence there. So we already had a connection. And so I asked them to provide a church that was passionate about their ministry, a church that believed in them and what they were going to be doing. They suggested United Wesleyan in Easley. So I met with them. I also suggested that we try to incorporate Southern Wesleyan University in the process, since our organization actually began on the campus of Indiana Wesleyan.
Yeah.
And we got a good response from SWU. And so they had representatives there. We kind of laid out the program. They bought into it. The church had me come and speak. They voted that week, they voted to go ahead with this thing. And as a result, we started looking for a property. Found one very quickly in about a month's time. We purchased it. They started working on it, I believe, if I remember correctly, in January of this year. And they're only a couple of weeks from being done.
Wow.
And so hopefully by the end of June, that property will be on the market. In this particular case, we anticipate the generated profit will be around $15,000.
Wow.
Which these days is probably on the low end of what we're making. It just depends on the local market, what's happening with the property market.
Right. But the fact of the local church, the volunteer labor, it's really what makes all this possible.
Right. Yeah. And I have a philosophy, whether it's right or not, I won't, chisel it and grant it, but I have a philosophy that generosity inspires generosity.
Yeah.
And so our organization sets the tone by saying we're going to do all of this without any administration fees at all.
Wow.
We charge nothing for our services. We visit a church or we drive to a district on our own dime.
Wow.
What we do to help generate more for missions.
Wonderful.
Hopefully that inspires the local church.
Right.
Which then the fact that they're doing what they're doing no benefit to themselves. This is all for somebody else.
Yeah.
It inspires local businesses
Right.
to get involved. And so you'll have materials sometimes that'll either be sold to us at a discount or donated.
I was at a Wesleyan district retreat, Wesleyan men's district retreat past April. Jeff Galloway,
Yep.
you know Jeff.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to put pressure on Jeff, but he talked about the house they're currently working on. But then he just unpacked a dream that he had that
Yeah.
we want to. When we're done with that house,
Yep.
let's just do another house. And you
Yep.
could just see, and he's trying to get men on the district interested. He would just like to keep houses in the pipeline.
Yeah. Even before we bought this first house, Jeff made some passing comment to me that sounded very similar. He said, well,
Okay.
after we sell this house, then,
Yeah.
and of course my ears
God,
perked
love to
up.
hear that. Yeah,
Absolutely. Well, we have a church in Florida, Park Place Wesleyan,
Yeah, I've heard of it.
that has done 3 houses now with us.
Wow.
The first house they did was in 2010, and they were so excited by the results of that build that they said they want to do it again. Well, I told them just hold off, let your workers rest a little bit, recoup. So they didn't do anything for about 6 months, and then I contacted them and said, are you ready to go again? And they said yes, and so we bought a second property. The first property only made $10,000, but that was back in the bad old days of the property market
After
being
the 2008 bust.
Yeah. So, but they made $10,000 for their mission, and then the second house they made a little over 31 or 32,000 on the second property. They reloaded and did another one, and the third one made 40,000.
Wow.
So yeah.
Man, you're talking about with those 3 houses, you're talking about the annual salary of a missionary.
Yeah, that's right.
There.
That's right. It on average, it doubled their mission giving
How about it?
on an annual basis.
Yeah.
So for me, that's just thrilling.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to do more for missions.
Right.
More.
Right.
And certainly they were a case in point.
I know the other night during the Global Partners service, they talked about if every Wesleyan church member over a course of a year gave 21 more dollars. They really broke it down into small numbers. If every church over a 3 or 4 year period gave $2,000 more dollars, and I'm just thinking, you're talking $10,000, $15,000, and that may be, as I'm sitting here thinking, within my single local church, we probably couldn't do that project, but there's 4 or 5 churches in our county where if we went in, we could make a big difference. And so if you got 5 churches and they're asking us to increase our giving $2,000 over 4 years, and we all go in together doing the house, I mean
you drop it in.
what you're doing is just so exciting for me. So tell everybody the website or how they can contact you, because this is it. This is just this amazing thing. So how can people get in touch with you?
Okay. The website is www.habitatformissions.com. Our email address is habitatformissions@gmail.com. I do have a cell phone number I'm happy to give out, 765-506-6733. That's 765-506-6733. Would love to work with people. If I might just, how are we doing time-wise?
Oh, you're good.
Okay.
You're good.
Okay. You talked about breaking things down. We have this weekend committed ourselves to generating $500,000 for this new initiative that Global Partners has instituted. And if we're going to do this by 2020, here's the breakdown. All we need is one church from each Wesleyan district in North America to partner with us on a renovation. We'll romp it in. Just one house from each district.
Between now and 2020.
That's right. It could be a walk in the park.
That sounds doable.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Well, this weekend we actually presented checks for $66,000 to Global Partners from these builds that have just wrapped up, and so we've gotten a down payment. Let's say we've got a head start on it, and got another 450 to go. But looking forward to seeing this happen.
Just to rewind a little bit, you mentioned your time as missionary in residence at Indiana Wesleyan.
Yes.
I know the impact that Dave and Donna Tolan have had.
Great people.
So can you just talk about that? Because I know most of our schools have that now.
Yeah.
But talk about you talked about the connection with Ben and Heather that you didn't even realize was there. Talk about the importance of that program, because all of those missionaries in residence rely on donations. They're supported through Global Partners. But talk about just the importance and the impact that the missionaries in residence have had.
Sure, it is. It's spectacular. I mean, you're recruiting future missionaries. You've got kids 18 to 22 that are at a crucial time in their life, making those life choices of what they're going to do as far as a career, who they're going to do it with as far as a life partner, where they're going to live, and to be in that locale where there are somewhere between 1,000 and 3,000 young adults, many of whom are experiencing the call of God on their life into missionary service, to be able to give into that, to be a part. It's exciting. It really is. And it was probably the only reason that would move me off the mission field. My wife and I were planning actually on retiring in Australia. Seriously, we bought a house. Yeah. We bought a house. We were Australian citizens. We never thought we would leave. But Global Partners did bounce the idea of us coming back and doing the missionary in residence. And my wife laughed when that was first suggested. She said, "Why would we leave Australia?" But we prayed about it and started thinking about it, and decided, you know what, to invest the last decade of our lives into young adults that might do what my wife and I did for 31 years.
Yeah.
Maybe that wasn't a bad option, for that last decade. So we ended up taking the position at IWU. We were there for 3.5 years. At that time, Habitat for Missions was launched as a way of helping these kids, and it took off from there, and it now is my full-time job. So. You
are a great spokesman. I'm just telling you right now. When I saw the video the other night, I said to myself, we got to get that guy on the show.
Yeah, and so, hey, you heard the challenge from Bill. Habitat for Missions, we need every district to do one. You've got 4 years.
Yeah.
We're not talking like, man, you got to flip this house by December. You have 4 years to do it. I want to see it happen. I want Bill to be back here with us, Lord willing,
in 2020.
In 2020. I want that check to be huge. I want it to be so big you got to print it out on poster board to present that to Global Partners. Listen, we can make this happen. We can double the number of missionaries. It is within our grasp. Bill, thank you so much for your passion and for your service and for what you're doing now. It is absolutely incredible. So we're going to go to a commercial break. We're going to let Bill go. He's got a booth. He's got a man, and get people to help him build some houses. But here's a word from one of our sponsors, and then we'll be right back with some news and commentary.
All right, Bill.
I found myself sitting in this atrium during the week and just saying to God, I don't know if I can do this anymore. It's filled. We're out of money. I'm emotionally low. Now what's going to happen? We're gonna have another campaign? I can't have that be my ministry track for the rest of my life. And that's when God really put in my heart the vision of the kingdom